Yo, 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 what is up? What is up, YouTube boxing family? Let's get right here. Let's get right into it, man. Um, I'm going to talk about something that, not a lot of people really be bringing up in the boxing world, but I guess as far as what people want to say, I'm going to try to do my best to break down this topic to the best of my ability and see where things go. Does the Latino boxing community exist? And let me just be the first one to say I don't believe there is ever such a Latino boxing community. There is a Hispanic boxing communities, but as far as Latino goes, I thought there was ever such a thing when I was younger to think that the word Latino is a thing when it comes to like Hispanic, like American Indian mixed indigenous peoples that obviously have Spanish or Portuguese blood, i.e., people from the Central Americas, South Americas, and anywhere that you could think of in terms of what you could say is considered Hispanic, which that is technically in conjunction with people of mixed heritages of the original ancestry of being something of a mixed race. Well, I wouldn't even say mixed race, just mixed ethnic background. Um, I think people are kind of mixed to think that the word Latino is a racial ethnic group. I actually was fooled into believing that is, to which, to a certain degree, it is, but it's just a classification for people that are of European descent that are transpired from, I believe, France, Spain, and Italy because like that's where the word Latino is rooted from. It's rooted from the word Latin, which is coming from the Romantic heritage of the Roman Empire, calling them Latin 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 people. So when you just put like the O next to it, that's what the term Latinos are. So I think people of that Hispanic heritage group, or people of Portuguese heritage, i.e., Brazilians and all those people, that's where they get this like weird belief of thinking that the word Latino is the actual word that people of the you know post-colonized nations would believe that's a thing, but it's really not, in my honest opinion. I don't see it to be that way. I think everybody should know, like, due to the historic divisions of countries and other state bordering countries, people don't look at it that way. It's like saying to Cameroonians that they're no longer Africans, they're just French people. And that's not true. Cameroonians are very proud people of where they come from. See, now, as far as everything else goes, um, I will be the first one to say, even for me, like, I don't use like, the word Latino ever in boxing discussions. I think when it comes to just people in general, people don't understand that the word Latino is a very like I don't like I don't even be hearing it from like anybody that just talks boxing on any regular discussion. But when it comes to just Latino, boxing, I guess, like people will have their own divisions naturally when it comes to like Mexico versus Puerto Rico or Peru versus like, I don't know, like basically whatever you could think of. So I don't know. I just think like, it's pretty stupid. It's pretty like, it's pretty fake per se because some people will really think that, that the Latino community is like a thing in boxing, and I don't see it to be like that. I more so just see it to be a mixed Hispanic group of people where, everybody just has like their own mixed views of how they see their own fighters, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, you could easily be proud of who you are and be proud of where like your heritage really comes from with your fighters, and that's perfectly fine. Like I don't think William Zepeda is that good yet of a fighter, but I think guys like Nestor Bravo, he'll be up there, or Subriel Matias will be up there, but it's never to really even say in like terms of like what people of like I guess other Hispanic racial groups need to have like their own set boundaries of like who they like as fighters, and we all have to be separated of what we like and what we don't like. I think that's very uncalled for. It's pretty stupid, and it keeps up the sport heavily divided. But as far as just like where things go with like the quote unquote Latino boxing community, that's a pretty abstract word, and I don't think it ever exists at all. Because what you mean by that is that you're basically referring to people of Europe rather than people of the mixed heritages in the Central Americas, or Caribbean Americas, and then South America, and then so on and so forth. So that's not really referring to anybody but just people from Europe that don't really like. I wouldn't even think like those people would even try to call themselves Latinos, but I guess if they want to, that is technically their word because it's derived from there. So to me, like I really don't care. It's like I don't think of it to really even be anything valuable other than just like it's a pretty stupid derogatory word that people just end up you know coming like across of it, and then they just think like, oh well, this is how we boxing fans need to act like, because we are Latinos, and we're all together, blah blah blah. And I don't see that to be the case, because if that was to be really true, you really want to call yourself a Latino, you just say, we're the Hispanic boxing community of all ethnic backgrounds, i.e., Hispanic mixed backgrounds and Portuguese mixed backgrounds, but primarily we stick with our tribes and we stick with our people, of the Mexican people, of whatever tribes that people want to consider part of Mexico, whether they call themselves like the Aztec boxing community, or they call themselves the Taino boxing community, or whatever. Like people have like their own little niche of like what they like out of their fighters, of like what they idolize, and what they you know believe in as part of like their heritage. But as far as this like whole like Latino boxing community, I don't see it to be like a thing. I think if anything, like everyone's divided in their own little sector of what they like to do in boxing. So it's not like these people are really together. I don't really see it to be like that. I think the problem is that a lot of people really end up believing in how should I say, they think that everyone gets like along, and I don't think of it to be like that. Um, I think most people are very divisive, and some people can be very aggressively racist. Like I'll even say in certain situations with like I guess that the Mexican boxing communities, they're heavily messed up with like what they believe in. Of just like kind of disrespecting people that like other fighters, where they think that this fighter could beat that other fighter, and I think it's pretty dumb, and I think it's pretty mentally retarded. Like there shouldn't be any there shouldn't be any reason for people to get pissed off over them picking their guy that's from like a different country, over your guy, in which he may be better than the other guy, but it's not to say that your guy sucks. It's just like I think at some certain point of time, like people need to stop using racial ethnicity as as like a reason of like why this guy will beat that other guy, because it's like that's what I tend to see a lot in a lot of these like messed up racist boxing groups, whether that's coming from like I guess at the Mexican community, or just basically wherever, because that's really like where the problem is. Like a lot of people tend to believe in like the wrong things, and then they just think like, oh well, that's just how it always was in boxing. And I don't believe it to be like that. I think there was always like a time in the sport of boxing where people do come together and people can modernize and liberalize to bigger and better things. It's happened before, and I think it's always better to bring love and compassion to any sport, especially in all the greatest sports, next to boxing, like basketball, soccer, football. Like obviously soccer is definitely racist with their, messed up biases, but I think like the sport of soccer has gotten way better in terms of the discrimination of players, especially in Europe. But like over in Central or South America, um, all those spots, those people are definitely being respected way better. People actually respect the game and actually love the game for what it really is, especially out in like Brazil, Argentina, Peru, Bolivia. Like people take pride in those sports, especially in soccer. And then out in the Caribbean, especially in the Dominican Republic, and then not too sure Cuba exercises baseball. I'm pretty sure that baseball is not something that they normally do due to their political, issues that they have over there. But I believe that's why Cuba, at one point, they were very very good at baseball, and I'm pretty sure that they're good now. It's just that it just really depends on like, you know, what the Cuban school of baseball is really going through. But all I'm saying is that as far as what the Latino boxing community goes, I don't see that to be a thing at all. Um, I think it's pretty lame, and I think it's pretty stupid to have such a thing because I don't think there's ever any controversy of like ever coming together when a quote unquote Latino brother beats up on on another racial ethnic you know like I guess like enemy, right? Like so I think it's a pretty stupid mantra to have. It doesn't really describe anything, and it's a pretty derogatory word per se. So I'll be the first one to say like even though that I'm a mix, Hispanic, like obviously like I'm a black man at the end of the, you know at the end of the day. But I will say like with my Puerto Rican heritage that I have, like I'm more just heavily connected around Puerto Rican boxing versus like Mexican boxing or Peruvian boxing or etc. Like I mean, I love Mexican boxing and I love Mexican fighters and like the people of Mexico, but I just never like boxing wise like I'm always like Team Puerto Rico first before like I ever switch over to Mexico. And like I love all the Mexican fighters. Like I wish they were Puerto Rican more than being Mexican. Especially guys like David Benavidez, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Like I mean, if that was Puerto Rican talent being traded over like some of the Puerto Rican fighters that are good now, I would take that. Subriel Matias if he was Mexican or Dominican, and then I trade him for like a David Benavidez. Like, oh, dude, like Puerto Rico would be on fire with like all the talent that they could develop. But like, the greatest thing like about boxing is like regardless of like where you're from, that talent will always come back because it's like you never know who's ever gonna come out and just absolutely shine. And it shouldn't really need to be too much of like a problem for like where people's mindset are of like how they see like a fighter because if that fighter is good regardless of like you know their ethnicity of like where they were brought up and shit, then at the end of the day like it doesn't matter, man. Like people are people, and those people are not fighting for you, and they will never fight for you. They'll be like the first ones to like be all high and mighty about their heritage and say, oh well, our fighters were always good, blah blah blah. And like to me like it's like a bunch of horseshit. It's all political mechanism to keep people divided, and that's how like the racist market sell you know is promoted in boxing, sadly, because it's like people really use that as like a leverage to like hate another fighter, but it's like you don't understand like where that fighter had to come from just to get to that level. So either way, to finalize up the whole talking point, does a Latino boxing community exist? I don't see it to be like that. I think it's pretty, you know, dead word to use, and I don't think it's really ever a thing in boxing. I've never seen it before. Obviously, like with the channels that I associate with, I don't think it's really that, existent. I think it's a pretty dead word that people just made up to just say like, oh well, we got this, Latino thing, and I'm just like, I'm not down for that. I don't look at it like that. It's obviously not something that I'm keen to understanding because I was never brought up that way. Like everyone has their own, mindset and beliefs of like what they believe in as their own heritage, and it's definitely not being Latino because Latino is just that's not a word that's really hyperactively exclusive, especially in the Western world. I don't think so, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think the word Latino boxing is a thing, or is there ever such a thing in Latino boxing? Um, I don't think so. I think it's a pretty dead derogatory word, and yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like I'll be continuing myself on the grind, and yeah, man, more content coming out, and let me know what you guys think, man. Tell me in the comment section below, and yeah, man. As you can see here, I'm just getting like getting like my little training saga in with Battlefield 4. I will come out with more content for Battlefield. I haven't played Battlefield multiplayer in ages, and I always fall back in love playing Battlefield 4. So uh, I'll definitely come back with some fire content for some Battlefield gameplay, and you guys will see K-Rod back on the battlefield. But yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoy this. I'll see you guys soon. And peace out. Salute to the mighty LDBC and TWT. I am out. Peace.